This isn't a wrestling promo. This isn't a cheap pop. And this sure isn't an apology. This is my life. I got into wrestling at 14 years old. It all started really because of my little brother. He came across an Undertaker action figure, and at the time, we had no idea what this thing was. We never watched wrestling. And I did some research, ended up buying my brother a 20-no DVD set, and that's all we watched for like 5 months. Fast forward, about 2 years later, we took my brother to a wrestling show, just local in town, and I started training. My original trainer was named Tyson Dean from NWA Atlanta. Eventually would end up leaving NWA Atlanta to pursue other training, other shows. You know, I trained with a few friends along the way, and then I ended up meeting a guy named Murder One. I feel like with training with him is when stuff really started to kind of click for me. You know, I was also around Jimmy Rave a lot, and a guy named Iceberg. You know, they really helped shape me into really knowing what I was doing in the ring and really getting everything to finally make sense in my brain. A lot of my in-ring persona, in a way, just comes from me trying to spite my mom for shaming me, making me feel like I couldn't be myself, and in a way, just society in general always making women feel like they can't express themselves sexually or really just in any way. You know, from the time I was a kid, I was told, be this certain way, you know, speak when spoken to, cross your legs, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, let me be who I want to be. Let me do what I want to do. The guys can do it, why can't I? There's a few different things I could say I want out of my career as a whole. You know, to make enough money to give my grandmother a nice life for her last, you know, however many years she's got left, and get my brother in maybe a good college someday, and you know, take care of the people that really showed me that I wasn't alone in this world. But, you know, really it's just, I just want to make a difference. And, you know, it could be like a lot of these girls in wrestling say that they want a revolution and say they want to change the business forever, and that's great. But I think the first step in revolution for women's wrestling is for women just to be accepted. Whether you're coming to the ring and you're fighting for your life and every strike is like death to the opponent, whether you're coming to the ring and you're dancing around and cheetah print, or whether you're coming to the ring and, you know, just being yourself. We don't all have to fit this mold of what a revolutionary women's wrestler of 2019 or 2020 is. We just need to be accepted in the same way that male wrestlers are accepted. So in January of 2019, I did a no-ring 21 and up show out in California. So I had this idea for this spot that I wanted to do in wrestling. Had the idea for a while. And along that, you know, I would pitch it to a few girls and just be like, what do you think of this? It's too much, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they'd be like, no, I think it's cool, but I don't know where you would do that at, because, you know, most shows are, you know, there's children or whatever. And I wrestled a girl named Tuna at a bar show, only 21 and up allowed. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna do this. And at the time, you do a lot of these little wrestling shows and you don't know if they're gonna be filmed, you don't know if they're gonna be put on YouTube, you don't know if the footage is ever gonna see the light of day, right? So in reality, I was just doing this to entertain myself. It'd be something fun for me, because as a person that grew up watching Rob Zombie films and, you know, everything in that same realm, that was what entertained me. So I did it. I pulled a tampon out of my trunks, shoved it in another girl's mouth on a wrestling show. And I thought it was all fun and games, and then a week later, I get notifications on my phone and my phone is blowing up. Everybody on the internet decided that that was just the worst thing wrestling had ever seen. It's weird to me because the same people that have pointed fingers at me and said that I'm a horrible person publicly are the same people that I know, have seen, and have heard make racist remarks, homophobic remarks, and just aren't nice people behind closed doors. And what I did was a stunt. Maybe it was disgusting, maybe it made your skin crawl, but nothing that I have ever done has ever been cruel, racist, homophobic. And at the end of the day, at least I can say that I'm not putting anything hateful into the world. Being doubted because of one thing, maybe two things that I've done in wrestling that were not the norm, it just makes me want to go out there and fight harder. But at the same time, as I'm putting in the work in the ring to show you that I can wrestle, I'm still gonna do what I do best. And that's be myself. And if people don't like it, they don't have to watch me. It seems that since I was a young girl, I've always been doubted, judged, and made to feel uncomfortable just to be in my own skin. But I've come to the realization that if I can't be myself, then I don't want to be at all. And if I'm gonna continue this wrestling career, being who I want to be and not fitting the mold of what society or the wrestling business says that I should be, then that's just fine, because at the end of the day, I'd rather be myself than to be what everybody else says I should be.